Lead, no. All right, and he is a leader, and he is their team leader, and I think he's a great leader. But I'm defining lead like this. You put the team on your back, and you will throw them to victory when all else fails, like Aaron Rodgers, like Tom Brady, like Patrick Mahomes. I don't think Dak is there. And I made a mistake earlier in the year. I elevated him I always thought of him as a game manager who could make plays with his legs and at times with his arms. And I elevated him earlier in the season to an elite level quarterback, meaning I thought he could carry them with his arm now to victory. But now that was premature. He may get there. I still think he could get there in the future. But right now, he's still more of a game manager who has the ability to make plays here and there with both his arms and his legs. And Mike, you brought this up in the last segment. Last year, when everyone was going goo-goo gaga over Dak's passing numbers before he got hurt, 470 yards, 500 yards, those were in losses where they were down big and they came back in the second half against defenses that had gotten soft because they had big leads. And I was like, that doesn't tell me anything. But when he did it earlier this year against Tampa, and he actually had a big game against New England, I thought, okay, he's arrived. But we've seen, now maybe it's because of the calf injury. I don't know. But for whatever reason, we've seen over the past month and a half that he's been back that he can't carry them without the run game anymore. So now we're kind of back to where we were a couple years ago, where you need Zeke and Tony Pollard to get you some yardage on the ground, and then Dak can win you games maybe deep into the playoffs. But right now with Zeke and Pollard banged up, no running game to speak of, Mike, I don't think Dak can just put you on his back and carry you to victory deep into the playoffs.
Now, I agree with you, Chris. I mean, yesterday's game for Dak was probably one of his toughest, and even the offense in general, because, one, your coach guaranteed a victory. So now offense, we must score points in order to win the game. The defense, they can go out, they can be rambunctious, they can fly around, and it's less pressure on them. So I seen Dak yesterday making some errant throws and trying to force some balls into tight coverages, trying to make plays and trying to build the lead. And that's normal, but he trying to live up to the hype. He trying to live up to the hype that the coach had built and anticipated for this team. So, you know, they got away with a win. It was a big win. But as far as moving forward in the NFC, I see teams like Arizona and Green Bay and Tampa just getting better and better on both sides of the ball. So at some point, the Cowboys got to match up.
And listen, there's something wrong with Dak. And we can talk about, is he still hurt? I don't know. I know the numbers would suggest he is. We can show it. Pre and post ankle injury, calf injury, pardon me. It's jarring. I mean, he was a legit MVP candidate up until the win to beat the Patriots. And then since then, statistically speaking, he's been one of the 6 or 7 least effective quarterbacks in the league. Now, maybe it's coincidence, or maybe he's not actually 100% or even close to it. The other thing that's happened this year, and this was trending towards this before he suffered the calf injury, maybe as a result of the injury he suffered last year, Dak doesn't run anymore. Dak, up until this year, every season ran for right around 300 yards. Yesterday, when he had that 11-yard run, it was shocking. It's like, oh, Dak ran the ball. He's got around 100 rushing yards this year. So that part of his game is gone. But the most concerning thing of it all, Wilds, is that pick six at the end can't happen. That game is over. The only reason you call a pass play there is because you trust your quarterback that if he doesn't have a layup, he'll just go down. Like, taking a sack there is fine. You're up 2 scores. There's 4 minutes left. You just want the clock to keep running. Now, should they have called a run play? Maybe, but you call a pass play there because you're like, okay, it's either going to be an easy completion or Dak will just go down. This is the only thing you can't do. The only reason Washington had a chance was because of that play right there. So, Of course, Dallas won. Washington's quarterbacks were a combined 15 of 34 with 3 turnovers, like a 52 rating combined. It was awful offense by both teams, if we're being honest. And Cowboys defense deserves credit. But Dak, how could I believe in Dak right now, given what we've seen since he came back from the calf injury?
Well, Nick said something earlier that I totally agree with. If Dak just commits to the run a little bit, he opens up the defense a lot more, and he gives himself more options. He gives the offense more options. And by Dak slowing down, trying to pull up, and trying to make a throw, you know, the defense is in hot pursuit. So at some point, they're going to catch up with you and make some sort of contact. Now, I do like, you know, his offensive lineman coming to his aid. My guys used to do that for me all the time. If you'd have did that to me, Jason Peters would have been right there, you know, confronting any linebacker, defensive back, or D lineman that put his hands on me. And he felt like, you know, it was egregious. He coming after you. So I like that part of it, but I do want to see Dak more aggressive. I do want to see Dak just kind of let go, unless he's hurt, you know, put more pressure on the defense and maybe, you know, try to rack up maybe 40 or 50 yards per game to loosen up the defense.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.